And it's supposed to bring in over half the money they need for health care. The problem is that the more you tax, the less money they want to make, so therefore you don't bring in as much money.
Imagine that. I think they forgot that element.
That's right.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, report Bush surveillance program was massive.
I knew it. I think you knew it.
I knew that.
But it seems for some unknown reason, the press is now discovering that it was a massive surveillance program.
Well, and isn't that all relative?
Yeah.
Now, how is it that they're just discovering it now, and why is it coming out? Is it just because they're trying to justify like that?
Yeah, and it's also got to do with the fact that Nancy Pelosi took her foot and put it in her mouth. And the second reason is because everybody in the business knows they're going to jail Bush. It's just not a matter of if they're going to, it's just a matter of when they're going to bring criminal charges against him.
And I have to tell you, I think that is totally atrocious to do that to a president.
Well,
it doesn't make any difference whether I agree or not agree, but I mean...
Well, because you know what, once again today, they said that a second stimulus is going to be needed. They said there's no doubt about it. A second stimulus will be needed because of the damage that George Bush did to our country.
Boy, he gets blamed for everything.
Oh yeah, and Obama said it again when he was talking today too. He said it, that these are George Bush's problems I'm trying to deal with. Of course, Obama has spent more money than every president in the history of this nation combined, including Bush. And you know, and they said that his own people have said, if you go back and read what they have said, that if they did nothing, things wouldn't be as bad as what they are right now. If they did nothing.
House Democrats want to tax the rich for health care.
Yeah, that's, you know, see, this is, let me step aside. See, this is one of these things we just got through talking about a few seconds ago.
Oh, that's true.
See, but that's because you got two different sources, and I talked on and on. So.
And he talked on and on.
But then I'll go on and said, yeah, and that's because they can't, I'll go on with it. So like, they have to tax somebody, and the only way they can get the money is to go after the greedy elite.
And it's not just the people making over $250,000.
No, it can't be because they don't make as much money as they want to bring in taxes.
Chavez attacks U.S. plan to solve Honduras coup.
Well, okay, we put it this way. Obama will apologize to him like Obama is now apologizing to the North Koreans over the
What's he apologizing for them to?
Well, he's got Hillary Clinton that said the reporters may have broken the law and that we're asking for amnesty from the North Korean government. That basically Obama has apologized to North Korea.
Yeah. Do you think that they're apologizing because of the phone call that went out the other day from one of the reporters that said what did they say?
No, they did that because they'd been told by the State Department that Obama is going to make an unofficial apology to the North Koreans.
Yeah, and it's basically one of those precursors to right before they get released.
Oh, they're released. They're in a guest house now instead of the labor camps. But see, the instant that they knew that Obama could be rolled, they're basically what they're going to do next is they're going to keep harassing now because they know that Obama has been rolled once.
Hey, do you think they'll get a couple Gitmo people and they'll pay them $20 million a person?
It's going to cost. What will happen is that they'll probably take the worst of the people that Obama can't try and release them to North Korea in return for North Korea's saying that we'll take these people and you give us $100 million in food to help feed our people, and we'll take these bad people, and then they'll turn around and turn them loose. Which is basically, that is scaring the Chinese, because I heard a person say this morning on one of the channels, the Chinese are terrified that Obama is going to make a deal with the North Koreans to turn Muslim terrorists loose in North Korea, because they have a Muslim problem in China.
But you can guess that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Massive IRS bill, looms for Jackson Estate.
Well,
which we kind of talked about.
We kind of talked about it also. See, once again, it's because multiple sources we're drawing from, and she doesn't keep track of what the things are. The guy up behind the camera says, basically he makes faces at us.
He's like, nah.
Yeah, but then I would go on, once again, if I were doing it, and tell people, like as we discussed before, that people have trust in order not to lose everything they have. If you're a multimillionaire, Bing Crosby, for instance, owned a massive amount of stuff, and in order to be able to have anything for his children and grandchildren, he put everything in a trust. And then the trust sold things off, in order to,
Pay for taxes.
pay for taxes, but the taxes are not. The death tax on a person with a trust is not the same as a death tax for a person without one.
Obama suggests sanctions for Iran.
Yeah, basically that's into the old BS category right there, because no one is going to sanction Iran for anything. I mean, it took him 10 days of Hillary prodding him to even say they did anything wrong.
To do an apology, I know. Death toll from China's ethnic riots hits 184.
They think that is a very conservative estimate. That's what they know of as far as being killed in China.
Pope presses Obama on abortion and stem cells.
Yeah, like Pope thought he could deal with Obama because everybody else can roll him. But it comes to the fact that Obama believes in
Well, he's Muslim and Pope's Catholic.
Pope's Catholic, so there was no chance whatsoever. I mean, anybody realize that he hasn't picked a church simply because of the fact that they probably didn't care whether they were Muslim or not in the Reverend Rice Church as long as they came, because it was what they were preaching. So he can't find a church that he can get to that he can't. You do not see Mr. Obama consistently with the Bible around him.
In fact, when he was sworn in,
they deliberately had a mistake. I mean, okay, there's no conspiracy theory. I mean, the man he'd have been happier if the Quran would have been used, and it would have been perfectly acceptable. No one, basically, by doing everything the way he's doing it, it makes it look like he is Muslim. But all he had to do was to simply say, I was brought up a Muslim, and nobody would, you wouldn't be any worse off than you are now.
House Democrat, actually this is on there again. Congress asked to probe troops' extremist fringe.
I know. It's back to the, if you're in the military, we have to be scared of you time again.
It is.
Yep.
It's the end of the road for many GM and Chrysler lawsuits.
Well,
now
yeah.
see, actually that one we already talked about from the newspaper.
That's right. That was one of the headlines from that. But see, she also would censor, a lot of the stuff she censors before she ever gets back to me on it. But this,
we're showing you how it's done.
Yeah, so.
We're demonstrating.
That's right.
And doing it at the same time. Climbing toll raises British doubts on Afghanistan.
They're getting ready to pull out because they're losing too many troops. And when Obama can't convince anybody to put anybody in. I mean, as it is, we have a deadline of 1 year, and we're going to be yanked out of there. They're all coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan about the same time, and the Muslims all know it. And they are kicking butt now because they know that we're leaving.
They know we're leaving.
And they're going to help us leave.
Yeah. Then it just looks like we're running with electronics.
That's right. That's why you don't set a timetable. Because if you set a timetable, one, it gives them even though if you're pulling out anyway, all they got to do is continue hit and run, and it makes them look like you're leaving because they ran you out, not because you were leaving on your own.
World has avoided economic disaster, Obama says.
I know, thanks to what the United States has done. I heard him phrase it again, that the world has gotten together and stopped most of the problems that George Bush caused. George Bush was in that speech again early this morning.
Well, did he forget that he's president?
He's still running against Bush.
I know.
They said even though the majority of the people now say this is all his problem, he is going, an old Monty Bowlism said that just because they tell you you can't keep blaming other people for your problems doesn't mean that you're not going to keep blaming other people for your problems. He's going to blame Bush for everything until they got another president. That's sort of why.
It's kind of like what's been going on.
But this is why they have to arrest and try George Bush, because if they don't, the Democrats have already said there are things that they're very tired of hearing him say. Transparency, you're too big to fail, it's George Bush's problem, and and you can't be a responsible member of the international community. These are being leaned on by Democrats.
But part of it is he's saying it so often, it's habit. By now, and it's almost like someone pausing. It's almost like me being fidgety with my my bikini strings. That I just do it. For him, it's like, well, just blame it on George Bush.
Yeah, and the Democrats, in order to be able to calm the Democrats down, because his continued harping on the same lines, he has to throw George Bush to him, which is what he's doing with the.
Well, actually, it's also one of those things. It's kind of like, okay.